Everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into modern enterprise access control by walking through the reference architecture for a zero trust privileged access management system. Historically, traditional PAM focused on building a high wall around static administrative accounts. Once a user gained entry to the vault or retained domain admin credentials, they held permanent, wide-ranging access. This traditional perimeter approach left organizations exposed to credential theft, lateral movement, and privilege escalation attacks. Zero Trust completely redefines this paradigm around one uncompromising core principle: never trust, always verify. Under a Zero Trust PAM framework, we operate on the fundamental assumption that the network is already compromised. Identity is never assumed, device health is never taken for granted, and privileges are never static. On this slide, you see the three core foundation stones driving this operational design. First, zero standing rights. We completely eliminate permanent administrative privileges. Accounts default to zero rights across cloud tenants, server fleets, and databases. Rights are granted dynamically only when required. Second, continuous evaluation. Access isn't a single check at login. Every request is continuously weighed against live telemetry, evaluating who the user is, the posture of their workstation, their physical location, and whether there is an active, legitimate need. Third, blast radius reduction. Even in the worst-case scenario where an administrator's credentials leak, those credentials are entirely useless in isolation. Without a verified hardware workstation, step-up authentication, and an active approval window, an attacker gains zero access. Over the next few slides, we'll trace how an admin request moves through this multi-layered framework, from initial login to total audit visibility. Let's now trace the lifecycle of a single privileged access request as it flows through the end-to-end architecture diagram shown on your screen. Look at the top left quadrant, the identity and requester layer. Whether the request originates from a human administrator, an SRE responding to an outage, or a machine identity like a CI/CD pipeline, the journey begins here. But the request never touches the target asset directly. Instead, it immediately encounters the policy decision and enforcement layer. Here, the policy decision point, or PDP, intercepts the request and evaluates dynamic signals. It forces a phishing-resistant MFA check while simultaneously querying device management software like Microsoft Intune or CrowdStrike to evaluate the endpoint's real-time risk state. Once identity and device state are validated, the workflow drops into the just-in-time privilege layer. The administrator submits an explicit request linked to an ITSM ticket. Upon approval, whether automated or manual, the JIT entitlement broker mints a short-lived token or ephemeral SSH key from the secrets vault. Notice that the user never sees, handles, or copies actual root or domain passwords. Next, the connection is brokered safely to the protected resources in the center-right box, be it AWS consoles, Kubernetes clusters, or production SQL databases. The gateway acts as an isolated proxy, injecting credentials directly into the encrypted stream. Finally, look at the bottom section, monitoring and session recording. Throughout the active window, the session is continuously monitored. If an anomaly is detected or the temporal window expires, the system triggers auto-revocation, while streaming raw event telemetry into our SIEM for real-time audit compliance. To better understand the structural integrity of this reference architecture, let's break down the four discrete control layers that form our defense-in-depth model. Layer 1 is identity and authentication. Standard SMS, push notifications, or basic passwords are no longer sufficient for privileged access due to modern adversary-in-the-middle phishing kits. We strictly enforce hardware-backed phishing-resistant standards like FIDO2, WebAuthn, or Windows Hello for Business, bound directly to a hardware TPM chip. Layer 2 is device compliance. Identity verification alone is useless if the administrator's workstation is infected with keyloggers or malware. This layer acts as a strict gatekeeper. It verifies that the device is MDM enrolled. The EDR agent is active and healthy, full disk BitLocker encryption is engaged, and the operating system is on a fully patched build. If a device fails even one check, access is blocked at the door. Layer 3 is the policy and just-in-time JIT engine. This is where we operationalize least privilege. Rather than giving an admin constant root rights, rights are provisioned contextually for a defined, limited window, such as 2 hours. Approval workflows mandate business justification, keeping the privilege footprint as small as possible. Layer 4 is the session gateway, acting as a transparent, isolated middleman between the admin and target infrastructure. The gateway performs credential injection. It negotiates connection protocols without disclosing secrets to the user's browser or terminal. Simultaneously, it records full video, keystrokes, and API calls, providing absolute visibility into every command executed on critical infrastructure. Now, let's zoom in on a critical hardware boundary, the Privileged Access Workstation, or PAW, enforced through modern conditional access policies. A common point of failure in enterprise security is allowing administrators to perform high-privilege operations like modifying cloud IAM or domain schema from the exact same laptop they use for daily web browsing, opening email attachments, or chatting on Slack. If that daily driver gets compromised, your entire enterprise domain follows. A PAW breaks this attack chain by establishing a dedicated, hardened hardware boundary around administrative tasks. Daily productivity happens on a standard corporate laptop. High-privilege administration happens only from a PAW. How do we enforce this technical boundary? Through intelligent conditional access policies built on 4 key elements. 1. Target scope. We target high-privilege roles like global administrator, cloud app administrator, or infrastructure leads, while scoping policy targets directly to administrative management portals. Greater than 2. Device compliance signals. Microsoft Intune or equivalent MDM solutions attest that TPM 2.0, secure boot and active EDR agents are fully functioning. 3. Explicit device filtering. This is critical. Simply requiring a compliant device isn't enough, as a standard employee laptop can be compliant. We use specific device filters, checking targeted attributes like extension attribute 1 matching PAW-dedicated-tier 0. If an admin attempts access from a non-PAW endpoint, the request is immediately blocked, regardless of whether their password and MFA are correct. Greater than 4. Integration with PIM. By tying step-up conditional access directly to privileged identity management, an admin sitting on a non-PAW workstation cannot even click the Activate Role button. The request dies at the evaluation layer. To complete the Zero Trust PAM lifecycle, we must address what happens during and after an elevated session, audit analysis, and continuous governance. While conditional access and PAWs control the front door, log analytics ensure full post-entry accountability and anomaly detection. Every PIM activation and administrative session generates real-time audit telemetry. This data flows directly into our central SIEM, such as Microsoft Sentinel or Datadog, where Automated detection analytics continuously evaluate three crucial dimensions. Dimension one is activation duration analysis. Normal operational tasks should comfortably conclude within a 1 to 4 hour window. Our SIEM actively flags duration anomalies, such as users consistently requesting maximum 12-hour windows, off-hours activations without corresponding incident records, or rapid back-to-back reactivations that might signal automated credential harvesting or session hijacking attempts. Dimension 2 is approver dynamics. Access control relies heavily on human integrity during approval. We analyze approver behavior to detect rubber stamping, where requests are approved in under 5 seconds without review, as well as self-approval violations, peer collusion, or unexpected approvals originating from inactive fallback accounts. Dimension 3 is justification and context verification. Approvals require a valid business reason. Automated SIEM rules use regex parsing to immediately flag lazy or synthetic justifications like test, admin, or work. More importantly, automated connectors cross-reference ticket IDs entered into the PAM prompt directly against ServiceNow or Jira APIs to verify that the ticket is real, active, and assigned to the requesting user. By uniting zero standing rights, PAW enforcement, and continuous automated auditing, we achieve a mature zero trust architecture